Elegy on Peg Nicholson by Robert Burns. Peg Nicholson was a good bay mare as ever trode on airn, as ever trod on iron, horseshoes. But now she's floating down the Nith and past the mouth of Cairn. So the Nith was the river ran by Ellisland Farm, where Burns lived, and runs into the Cairn water 4 miles south of there. Peg Nicholson was a gidby mare as ever throwed on airn, but noo she's floating down the Nith and past the mouth o' Cairn. Peg Nicholson was a gidby mare and rode through thick and thin, but noo she's floating down the Nith and wanting even the skin. Peg Nicholson was a gidby mare, and ance she bore a priest, but noo she's floating down the Nith for Solway fish a feast. Peg Nicholson was a gidby mare, and the priest he rode her sore, and much oppressed and bruised she was, as priest rid cattle are. So, Burns had agreed to care for William Nichol's mare, which turned out to be diseased. The mare was named after Margaret Nicholson, an Englishwoman who, believing she was the heir to the throne, assaulted King George III with a pair of dessert knives in 1786. She was committed to the Bethlehem Royal Hospital, which was called Bedlam, which is where we get the term, it was Bedlam, a madhouse, comes from the word Bethlehem. How about that? Where she died 42 years later. So, Burns didn't publish this song. He didn't submit it for publication in his life. He included it with a letter to William Nicol from Ellisland on February 9th, 1790. Here's the letter. My dear sir, that damned mare of yours is dead. I would freely have given her price to have saved her. She has vexed me beyond a description. Indebted as I was to your goodness beyond what I can ever repay, I eagerly grasped at your offer to have the mare with me. That I might at least show my readiness in wishing to be grateful, I took every care of her in my power. She was never crossed her riding above 50 of times by me, or by those in my keeping. I drew her in the plough, one of three horses, for one poor week. I refused 55 shillings for her, which was the highest boat I could squeeze for her. I fed her up and had her in fine order for Dumfries Fair, which is where you would trade horses. When 4 or 5 days before the fair, she was seized with an unaccountable disorder in the sinews, or somewhere in the bones of the neck, with a weakness or total want of power in her fillets, and in short the whole vertebrae of her spine seemed to be diseased and unhinged, and in 48 hours, in spite of the 2 best farriers in the country, she died, and be damned to her. The farriers said that she had been quite strained in the fillets beyond cure before you had bought her, and that the poor devil, though she might keep a little flesh, had been jaded and quite worn out with fatigue and oppression. While she was with me, she was under my own eye, and I assure you, my much valued friend, everything was done for her that could be done, and the accident has vexed me to the heart. In fact, I could not pluck up spirits to write you on account of the unfortunate business. Mrs. Burns begs to be remembered most gratefully to you. Little Bobby and Frank are charmingly well and healthy. I am jaded to death with fatigue. For these 2 or 3 months, on an average, I have not ridden less than 200 miles per week for the excise. He was sore oppressed himself, and indeed died 6 years later at the age of 37. I have done little in the poetic way. I have given Mr. Sutherland 2 prologues, one of which was delivered last week. I have likewise strung 4 or 5 barbarous stanzas to the tune of Chevy Chase, by way of elegy on your poor unfortunate mare. Beginning, the name she got here was Peg Nicholson. Song lyric enclosed. My best compliments to Mrs. Nichol and little Nettie and all the family. I hope Ned is a good scholar and will come out to gather nuts and apples with me next harvest. I am ever, my dearest friend, yours, Robert Burns. So this was published in Robert Cromek's Reliques of Robert Burns in 1808. Original manuscript lost. That's it. The other little bit of background is that William Nichol had been bred to holy orders, but it took an early dislike to the calling. I don't know if that's relevant. I mean, to the satire itself in the song. But that was reported by William Scott Douglas. All right, enough. Please subscribe to my channel. The tune, Chevy Chase, that is from the old ballad of Chevy Chase in the Cheviot Hills. It's a hunting area called a chase. And there's a very old ballad, may date to the 15th century, from which that old tune was printed in couple or 3 collections. I've got it from William McGibbon's collection of Scots tunes, book 4, 1768. And I've taken his bass from there. He used the same tune for the 5 Carlins, which I posted prior to this